G'day there guys, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole, where on this episode, we call our fiance's sister an idiot for their rude comments. God, what an idiot. What has she done this time? Listen on to find out. Sit back, relax, chuck a prawn to the barbie, and get ready for it. Let's go. Am I the arsehole for calling my fiance's sister an idiot for her rude comments about the number of siblings I have? To start, I've got 8 other siblings, as there's 9 of us in total. 2 of my brothers are biological, and the rest are foster siblings, but we're all very close. To me, they're my real family, so I don't really introduce them as anything other than my brothers and sisters. I'm getting married in a few months, and all my brothers are going to be my groomsmen, while my sisters were asked by my fiancé to be her bridesmaids. My fiancé's sister Kate is someone we don't talk too much, but still her parents convinced her to let Kate be a part of it. Recently, our families met up for a barbecue at our place, and this is the first time her family meets mine. Well, except her parents, since they couldn't make it. I introduced my siblings to everyone. At some point, when we were talking to her sister, she says, "Your parents seriously had 9 kids?" She said it with so much disgust. She seemed really mad about it. I told her yes, and Kate goes about how she thinks my parents were selfish and reckless for never figuring out how to use a condom, and don't they know how stupid they are for having so many kids when there's already overpopulation? Part of me found it funny, but also very annoyed for thinking that's something she even thought was okay to say about people she just met. So I told her they were foster parents, and only 2 of my brothers are biologically related. Not that it's any of her business to critique other people's lives. She looked embarrassed and apologized, but then she got mad. Kate says that's something I could have mentioned, so to avoid her saying the wrong thing. And I told her about how next time she just doesn't say anything at all and avoid looking like an idiot. My fiancé laughed a little, but Kate got mad. She walked off and made a comment to my fiancé's other sister and cousin about what I said. They know the context, but still, I think I was an asshole because Kate was just bringing awareness to what she thought was something bad, and it wasn't necessary to call her names. She doesn't want to talk to me now, and while that doesn't bother me at all, I do wonder, was I an asshole at all for doing that? I think I'm just on your side for this one. Kate shouldn't have said that at all. She didn't need a heads up so as to say something that was stupid, because she has enough self-awareness here to realize what she said was stupid, but not enough self-awareness to apologize for that. This seems like it's all entirely her fault, and she's the one that needs to fix this situation. You've not done anything wrong in my opinion, so I'm saying not the arsehole. Now in the comments, Squinky75 says, quote, "Kate was just bringing awareness to what she thought was something bad." Who asked her? Your parents don't need her permission. Also, if they were biological, what are you supposed to do? Shove them all back up your mother? Get back in there, Linda. Kate says you don't deserve to be alive. And OP says, I laughing crying emojis. Thank you. I needed a good laugh. Also, weren't you also just bringing attention to something you thought was bad? Judging people and disparaging them before having all the details? Why is that any different? Exactly. And as someone who is one of 9 full biological siblings, who's to say the parents didn't use various forms of birth control that failed? It's not the sister-in-law's business either way. Substantial Fox says, not the arsehole. She should be thankful she just looks like an idiot for her views, rather than seriously offending people because she doesn't agree with the idea of a couple having multiple biological children. Not her life to judge. She was silly to assume something, and when you assume, you only serve to make an ass out of you, not me. Holy crap, if she'd said that in front of me, I'd have so emotionally scarred her that she'd be afraid of redheads for the rest of her life. I'm from a family almost exactly the same size as OP's, and 7 of them are either fosters or adopted after we fostered them. Some didn't want to be legally adopted, which of course my parents agreed to respect their feelings about it. To say we're all protective of each other is an understatement. And dear God, the sister would have been begging me to traumatize her some more if my mum or grandmother got a hold of her. My relatives take that family is more than blood saying to heart and tolerate no BS about it. And Crizilla says, Not the asshole. If she didn't have anything nice to say, she shouldn't have said anything at all. Seriously, what was her endgame in bringing something like that up? And OP replies, honestly no idea. My fiancé doesn't spend a lot of time with her for certain reasons. Yeah, like, what did she expect? Your parents be like, oh crap, you're right, let's suck them back up, if they were biological. They're here regardless. Being crappy does nothing but sour relations. Our next post is by user DieIndustry9818, titled, Am I the asshole for telling my brother that my nieces are no longer welcome to parties hosted by me? So my older brother has two girls, 14 and 13 female. They are 18 months apart in age, but were never close. A couple of years ago, they went from not close to despising each other. Before, they would do their own things, didn't seem to seek each other out or like playing together, but they didn't fight. Now they can't be around each other without wishing they were an only child, yelling, cursing, and all of this other stuff. My son is 13 and told me before that they have wished that the other dead as well. And that when he was at my brother's one weekend, he and my sister-in-law were looking after him while we took our daughter out of state for a hospital thing, and he said they both told him they despised the other, and he saw them fight so many times. Apparently the eldest has been asking to live with my parents for a while now, but her parents say no. While my son was there, she asked, and she told him that she was asking for more than a year because she doesn't want to share the same house as her sister anymore. My dad's birthday in June was the last straw for me. They do fight at family parties and events, but what happened was my sister-in-law wanted a photo of the girls with my parents. They were standing either side of my parents, and my sister-in-law tried to make them stand together. My brother said that sisters should be side by side in family photos, and the 13-year-old went off. She said that's for siblings who love each other, but she never loved her older sister. She didn't want an older sister, and she would never take a picture beside her, ever. That she would rather be put into foster care and never see us again than see the oldest. Which the oldest then said that none of this would have happened if the parents had listened to her, and that she was tired of being around her younger sister the whole time. My daughter's birthday is coming up, and I don't want them ruining it. So I told my brother the girls won't be invited going forward. That unless they magically go back to how they were before, I don't want a scene at everything, and for parties and celebrations to be spoiled by their vicious fighting and hatred for each other. He told me I can't do that, and they are family. They should be given a chance every time. He told me that I was being unreasonable and setting a bad example. Am I the asshole? Now in the comments, EasternWater9701 says, You're not an asshole, but everyone else sucks. Why is no one doing anything for these two girls? This isn't normal. They are clearly both deeply unhappy. I agree. The parents are fully aware of all this, but seemingly do nothing about it but make things worse. I agree. Most teenagers are reclusive and don't tell you what is bothering them. These two are desperate for time away from one another, and no matter how clearly they spell it out, no one listens. Banning the girls from a party is probably going to cause a fight between the two, each blaming the other, and I think the more productive path is to uninvite the brother as well until he can get them help, therapy, or as simple as each spend a week at grandma's so they get 2 weeks away from the other and being the center of attention. I agree. And I agree with what you said about the ban causing a fight between them with each other blaming each other. I think the reason why they fight so much is possibly because they maybe were forced to be best friends when younger. Possibly even other stuff like if one couldn't go somewhere, neither could. Exact same gifts, both need to have the same friends, etc. I'm also curious if they share one bedroom since they're both girls and really don't get an escape from each other if they aren't that desperate for space. Or even the 13-year-old's reaction about not wanting an older sister while the 14-year-old just doesn't want to live there anymore. I wonder if the 14-year-old is used to babysitting the 13-year-old since she is her youngest sister. There's something about the siblings' dynamics that I feel are being affected by the adults, or even the adults are the main reason for this. Crash SC says, not the asshole. If your brother has a problem with you not wanting insanity and disruption in your home, then he needs to get his house in order. It's not your responsibility to give your nieces a chance to not ruin everything. Side note, that behavior is not normal, and your brother and sister-in-law should be doing something about it. The fact that OP's brother thinks OP is the issue and not the behavior of his kids makes me think there is something in the home that fostered this behavior. Siblings fight, some more than others, but for it to reach this level, there is something off in the home. Our next post is by user ActiveMany6036, titled, "Am I the asshole for being upset at a girl for bringing her dog to my apartment?" It was my birthday recently, so I decided to host a little get-together. I wasn't expecting gifts or anything, I just wanted an excuse to throw a party, drink, chat, order food, etc. I invited most of my friends, and a few of them asked if they could bring a +1, which I said yes to. I don't mind a bit of a crowd. One of my friends asked if he could bring his girlfriend along, and I didn't or don't really know her, but I met her a couple of times before, so it was cool with me. The party rolls around and people start showing up. I haven't seen a lot of them in person for a while, so we were enjoying catching up and just shooting the crap. Eventually, my friend and his girlfriend show up. I go to open the door, and she has a little brown Pomeranian, I think, in her arms. This caught me off guard because I had no idea she was going to bring her dog over. My friend then pulled me aside and asked if the dog was cool, to which I just said yes to avoid causing problems. I'm not the biggest fan of dogs, and I didn't really want it over, but I just shrugged and tried not to think about it. Well, as soon as she walked in, everyone was all, "Aww," and clamoured around the little thing. They were really enjoying playing with her and whatever, which normally wouldn't annoy me, but it got to the point where I felt like her and her dog were the center of the party that I'm hosting. It felt like the dog was taking away my conversation time with them, and eventually like 7 people formed a circle around the dog and played with her for like half an hour. Again, I hadn't seen a lot of these people in a while and was looking forward to catching up. Then a couple hours into the night, another buddy came up to me and said that he had to go early. I didn't know this, but apparently he's allergic to dogs, so he was congested, coughing, and generally feeling off. So he had to leave, and that kinda solidified my annoyance with her dog. I hadn't thought of people possibly being allergic, and if I had known, I would have said no to her bringing it at all. A couple of days after, I messaged the friend whose girlfriend brought the dog, and I let him know that I'd prefer if he asked me before she brought it. He was cool and apologized, but that message found its way to his girlfriend because the day after that, I got a message from her saying that I was being really disrespectful towards her and her dog. Long story short, the conversation wasn't going anywhere, so it ended with me telling her that she's not welcome in my apartment if she's gonna be that way. Well, she told her boyfriend, my friend, about it, and now he thinks I'm being unreasonable. My argument is that I was being reasonable enough by letting her bring it in the first place, even though she didn't ask me. Keep in mind, I'm just acquainted with this girl, and it was her first ever coming over. Her and her boyfriend say that I'm being immature for getting upset that a dog stole the attention at the party since it's so trivial. What do you think? Am I the asshole here? Honestly, I own 2 chihuahuas and I don't think it's unreasonable that you'd get upset at her for bringing a Pomeranian to a party. If I were to put myself in that situation and someone left because they were allergic to the dog, I'd feel pretty terrible about myself. I'd be like, yep, I did the wrong thing here. I didn't ask before bringing my little devil over to this party. I really feel like your friend did you dirty there by passing the messages on to the girlfriend, because she really didn't take that the right way. I'm sorry, but she's the one that brought the dog to the party uninvited. That wasn't an OK +1. She has no right to be angry in this situation. That's a stupid entitled mentality if I've ever seen one. You're not out of line for banning her from your apartment. It's your apartment, your house, your rules. You do whatever the hell you want, man. I don't blame you for what you've done here. I would do the same thing. She's shown herself to be incredibly disrespectful and uncaring of, your rules and other people's allergies, it would seem. You were really lenient. You didn't even bring it up at the party. You waited until afterwards. You were polite about it. Bless you, OP, not the asshole. Now in the comments, Wondered Far says, not the asshole. How bizarre and irresponsible for her to bring a small dog into someone else's apartment uninvited. You could have had a larger dog with a strong prey drive. You might have dropped something fatally dangerous to dogs on the floor, like a piece of sugar-free gum, that you wouldn't even consider if you only had adults and no animals. You or someone there could have been allergic, and was. Yeah, I love dogs, but I craft a lot in my apartment, and it's just not necessarily safe for dogs. I would at least want a chance to dog-proof my home. Not the asshole. I'm a dog lover, but I would never just show up to anyone's home, let alone someone I don't really know, with my dog without getting their consent first. I don't know how the girlfriend feels that you're being disrespectful by wanting her to ask before bringing her dog to your home, but she seems entitled. I'm a total dog person, but I never cease to be surprised how some people seem to think that their dog should be welcome everywhere and just show up with it unannounced. I don't even bring my human kids places without first checking to see if it's okay with the host, and the chances of someone being allergic to them is pretty low, but not impossible. Annoyed by them, sure. Hell, I am sometimes too, but not allergic. Is this a common thing with parents? I have some friends with kids, and one couple checks with me if they can bring their kids every single time. I thought they were just being weird, lol. I love kids and don't tend to host kid-inappropriate stuff, and even keep coloring books around for them. I try really hard to be kid-friendly and honestly, was kinda worried their asking might be a sign I was doing something wrong and not making them feel welcome. Yup, I always double-check if my kids are invited to things. I would never want to impose, and I need to know in advance to get childcare if kids aren't welcome. And Love Beach 8 says, everyone sucks here. Sorry, but your big mistake was to say that it was okay and let her in with her dog. You need to grow a spine and tell the truth up front, not a couple of days later. Your friend, her boyfriend, should have asked first. You don't just show up at someone's house with your dog or whatever pet. People do have allergies. Some people have a cat or whatever and don't want your pet in their house, and others just don't like other animals in their home. Yeah, but the time to ask if it's okay to bring your dog is before you leave the house, not when you arrive at the party. Exactly. When faced with a fait accompli, it's kind of hard to change the situation. Our next post is by user FairAd4118, titled, would I be the asshole if I remove my husband's giant retro game/console collection and clear out his home office without him knowing? My husband and I bought our first home together about 6 years ago. The house is quite small, but it has 3 bedrooms, and the location and plot size are great. I was pregnant at the time with our first child, and we were planning one more kid later on. With 3 bedrooms, the possibility of a private space for everyone should be there. But my husband works from home office, which he has for the past 10 years. When we were viewing the house, I pointed out how space will be an issue, us being a growing family and him needing a room for his office. He told me that his employer will pay for an office out of house should the need be there. We went ahead and bought the house, and we made a deal. Him using a bedroom as an office is temporary. He will have to give it up for our oldest child when the kids start school, at the latest. Now on to the issue. It has been 6 years, and our oldest is starting school. My husband is a collector of anything retro or gaming related. His office is filled from floor to roof with old games, consoles, etc. His collection also fills our basement living room, which is unusable due to the amount of stuff in there, and has been since we moved in, and a small storage room. I've spent the last year trying to get him to start clearing it, but he won't have it. He is flat out refusing to give up his office, and also suddenly claims there's no way his employer will pay for an out-of-house office. I have been nice about this for all this time, even if his massive hoard is making our entire basement inaccessible. But I've been clear that when our oldest starts school, it's a given that the kid gets both a private bedroom and gets to use the basement living room. I'll add that, at the moment, the two kids share a 2.4 meter by 2.3 meter bedroom that basically only fits 2 junior-sized beds and 2 small closets. My husband uses by far the largest bedroom as his office. When I try to have a conversation with him about it, he'll immediately shut it down and avoid a discussion by getting angry and upset. I know it's difficult for him to deal with parting with his collection, but our house just isn't big enough to keep all of it. I'm now considering boxing up all his stuff, and I take great care that nothing gets damaged, and find some place to store it when he's away next weekend. But I'm pretty sure he'll blow up and throw a fit in front of the kids, and I don't want to expose them to that. And edit, I realize from comments that if he's a hoarder, that I'm triggering his anxiety whenever I bring up clearing the rooms. I decided to try to have one last talk about it, but be tactful and gentle about it. Well, as soon as I entered his office, I guess he knew why I was there, because the second I opened my mouth to talk and he got it confirmed, he became upset. Next thing I know, he's boxing up all of his stuff in a fit of rage and hauling it over to his parents. So the rooms are cleared now, and when he was finished, he was completely calm and told me he realized he isn't attached to his collection anymore, and that he probably had been addicted to collecting itself, not the collection. I suggested couples therapy to get some help with our communication issues, but he's not interested, seeing as the rooms are cleared now and problem solved. Look, I know people are upset when I read these edits as they're kind of like, after the fact, the problem has been solved, quote unquote, but I still feel like it's necessary to read that in chronological order. There is definitely something going on with the husband. I don't think it's like infidelity or anything, no, but there's definitely an issue that I think needs to be talked out. OP has obviously pointed this out, saying, problem solved, quote unquote, and he's not interested in going to couples therapy. I feel like if your partner wants to go to couples therapy and they suggest there's an issue, you shutting it down while knowing that there has been an issue, that's just unhealthy. That's not a good relationship dynamic, that's just very odd to me. Personally, for the entire story, I think OP is not the asshole for this one. I feel like most of the problem lies on him, and I don't think OP has done much to be at fault for this. Now in the comments, Kind Crow says, everyone sucks here. Your husband is being incredibly selfish, and you're frustrated enough to take matters into your own hands. This won't end well. You need marriage counseling, stat. And also, your husband needs regular therapy. He's clearly a hoarder. Not being able to use the living room to live in? He's having issues. The basement living room. Probably just an extra living space, still a problem though. Which could make a great office if cleaned and organized. And that's what I thought as well. Webby Vanderquack says, everyone sucks here. Him more for the reasons you've outlined, but I don't think it would be right to do this without at least telling him you're going to do it. It sets a bad precedent, destroys what trust there is, and creates a monster of a conflict that will take a lot of energy to resolve. And OP replies, I figured I'd grab the opportunity while he's away, since he normally never leaves the house for an overnight stay. But yes, I see your point. If you do this, it will immediately explosively backfire in a really ugly way, and you will permanently damage your relationship with him. The solution here isn't throw away all his cherished items without his knowledge or consent, he will be totally fine. What are you thinking? Both of you need marriage counseling, and him likely separate therapy. Well, to be fair, she never intended to throw them away, just box them up and move them to another part of their house. Hubby has taken over an entire bedroom, the entire basement, a storage room, and his half of his own bedroom. His two kids share a room. I agree being sneaky about it is absolutely the wrong way to go, but let's not act as if she's trashing his important belongings. This is clearly a very stressful situation for her, not only taking care to make sure her children have the space they need, but also trying to help a husband with a clear hoarding problem, who refuses to help himself. Yeah, but she already did. It was brought up regularly. Now it's time to make decisions about her kids growing up in a hoard. Anyway guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you did like it, tell me what you thought about it down in the comments below, and make sure to just interact with everyone in this community. I love each and every one of you that I get to see on a daily basis. And don't forget, if you are a Patreon subscriber, I love you. You're on the screen right now with the YouTube members as well. If you see yourself, give yourself a pat in the back. You guys help me continue this YouTube journey. You keep me going. I see you guys everywhere. I see your messages, and thank you so much for supporting me. I really love every single one of you. But with that all said, I'm going to be signing off now, guys. I hope you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.